I have a job, I pay my bills, and I reply with, I'm good, when people ask how life's going. I even post photos where I look fine. But here's something I don't say out loud. I'm broke. And the weirdest part? Almost nobody knows. Not because I'm hiding some massive financial disaster. No, it's worse than that. Because from the outside, I look completely normal. And that's what makes this dangerous. Because being broke doesn't always look like rock bottom. Sometimes it just looks like functioning adulthood. And today, I want to talk about 10 things nobody tells you about being broke in your 20s. Not the usual advice, not stop buying coffee or just budget. I'm talking about the uncomfortable truths people rarely say out loud. And trust me, the last one changed how I think about money forever. Have you ever noticed how people with less money often pay more? That sounds backwards, but it happens constantly. Most people think being broke means spending less. But here's the hidden truth. Sometimes being broke means paying more for worse options. Say someone buys a $90 pair of quality shoes. They wear them for 3 years. Meanwhile, someone struggling buys an $18 pair of shoes 5 times. They spent the same amount but endured more discomfort, more replacements, and more stress. And it goes way beyond shoes. Late fees, overdraft charges, high interest debt, even delivery fees because bulk buying just isn't an option. Economists call this the poverty premium. Being broke doesn't just reduce your options, it punishes you for having fewer options. And if that feels unfair, wait until you hear the next one, because some of us are spending money without even realizing why. Have you ever asked yourself, I barely buy anything, so where's my money going? Here's the myth. People assume lifestyle inflation looks luxurious. Designer bags, luxury vacations, fancy dinners, but that's rarely how it starts. Lifestyle inflation often arrives looking tired. You're exhausted from work, so you order delivery. You're completely overwhelmed, so convenience wins. Coffee, subscriptions, quick dopamine purchases. Nothing feels extravagant. It just feels deserved. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because the biggest leaks in our finances don't feel irresponsible. They feel like survival. So, here's the action step. Audit your convenience spending, not your luxury spending. Because that's where the hidden leaks live. And speaking of hidden leaks, some people aren't overspending at all. They're carrying something much heavier. Let me ask something uncomfortable. Are you broke? Or are you supporting more people than anyone realizes? This rarely gets discussed in mainstream finance content, especially in collectivist cultures. Sometimes your salary isn't just yours. It supports parents, siblings, medical emergencies, unexpected family crises, and suddenly one income becomes 5 responsibilities. The myth says, if you're broke, you're bad with money. But that's not always true. Sometimes you're carrying a financial family tree on a single paycheck. That's not irresponsibility. That's invisible labor. And if you've felt guilt for not getting ahead, I want you to hear this. Your financial reality is much harder than a spreadsheet suggests, but even earning more doesn't always fix that. In fact, sometimes it creates a whole new problem. When I was younger, I thought, once I make more money, everything gets easier. But nobody told me this. Higher income often brings higher expectations. Friends spend more. Family asks more. You compare yourself more. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Humans normalize improvements fast, meaning your hard-earned raise quickly becomes your new normal. And suddenly, the freedom you imagined feels ordinary, or worse, insufficient. The practical step? Measure your financial progress against past you, not your peers. Because comparison quietly destroys gratitude. And if you think comparison hurts, there's something even more exhausting. Tiny shame. This one hurts because being broke isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just hundreds of tiny humiliations. Checking your card balance before ordering food, avoiding reunions, pretending you're not hungry, delaying dentist visits, praying your card doesn't decline at the register. Nobody sees these moments, but your nervous system feels every single one. And over time, those moments accumulate into shame, into silence, into pretending. If this video feels painfully relatable, you're exactly why I made Mica Invests. Hit subscribe, because here we talk about money without shame. Now let's talk about something surprising. Being broke can actually make you skilled. Here's something nobody celebrates. People with limited money often become financial tacticians, price comparison experts, coupon strategists, budget ninjas, and impulse resistance champions. Some broke people actually have stronger financial discipline than wealthy people. They just don't have enough income for it to show. That reframes everything. Being broke doesn't automatically mean careless. Sometimes it means being incredibly resourceful, but resourcefulness doesn't erase something deeper: fear. This was shocking to me. You can earn more, save more, be objectively safer, and still feel financially unsafe. Why? Because scarcity isn't always financial. Sometimes it becomes neurological. When you grow up with instability, your brain learns vigilance, constant scanning, constant preparing for disaster. Neuroscience shows that repeated stress actually strengthens your threat detection pathways, meaning your brain gets better at anticipating danger, even after the danger decreases. Think about that. Your salary changed, but your nervous system didn't. And that leads to some really strange spending behaviors, like buying things that aren't actually about pleasure. They're about hope. This one hit me hard. Sometimes I didn't buy something because I needed it. I bought it because I wanted to become someone. The skincare routine, the planner, the course, the productivity app, the outfit. I wasn't buying objects. I was buying a future identity, the version of me that finally had it together. That's powerful because it completely changes the question. Instead of asking, "Why did I buy this?" ask yourself, what version of myself was I trying to become? That question reveals everything, but sometimes we don't even want to look. Ever ignored your banking app? Delayed opening bills? Avoided checking your debt altogether? People call that laziness, but I don't think that's always true. Sometimes avoidance is just self-protection. Your brain learns a simple equation: money equals stress. So, avoiding your finances creates temporary relief. Psychology calls this avoidance coping. Short-term comfort for long-term pain. The action step? We need to make money visibility safer, not scarier. 5 minutes, one account, no judgment, because shame rarely creates better financial behavior. Safety does. And now, we reach the one insight I wish someone had told me years ago. This is the biggest truth, and maybe the hardest. Sometimes when we say, "I'm broke," we don't literally mean, "I have $0." Sometimes what we really mean is, "I don't feel safe." And those are not the same thing. Two people can each have $5,000 saved. One feels completely calm, while the other feels absolutely terrified. Why? Because numbers don't exist in isolation. Safety depends on context, backup systems, family support, emergency help, generational wealth, and emotional security. I realized something incredibly painful. I wasn't just scared of losing money. I was scared of having no one to catch me. And that changed everything, because suddenly my problem wasn't only budgeting, it was fear. And fear changes how we spend, how we save, how we work, how we live. So, if you're watching this while secretly struggling, I want to tell you something. You are not failing because money feels hard. Money is emotional, it's psychological, it's relational. And healing your finances isn't only about spreadsheets. Sometimes it starts with telling the truth. So here's mine. I'm still learning. I'm still healing. I'm still figuring all of this out. But I'm completely done pretending everything's fine. And maybe you can stop pretending too, because that's where real change begins. This is Mica Invests, where we talk about money honestly, gently, and without shame. I'll see you in the next one.